And this really is breaking. It's only 8 o'clock here. It is at 6:40 this was published. So this just happened. And I hate when people say, oh, it's breaking, it just happened. But in this case, this really did. Trump just ordered, here in the evening hours, a review to defund New York City and the other anarchist cities. So if you thought, hey, Donald Trump's not doing enough, I think he's doing something. This is from Steve Nelson at the New York Post. And just so we're clear, if Donald Trump says, I'm going to defund New York, he doesn't literally mean he's going to take all the money out of New York, right, guys? If you're defunding something, that just means you're diverting funds away from it and to other things. So you guys in New York, you wanted to defund the police? And I get it. I mean, hey, if the police killed less than 1% of one person in New York who was unarmed and a minority, in New York City, if even one person were killed by police last year who was unarmed and not attacking or trying to run away and evade the police, then yeah, I would say, yeah, let's defund them. So, but we're not doing that. We're just diverting funds away from the police in New York, you said. So we're doing the same thing now that you won't control your rioting and looting. We're going to defund and just divert some funds. We're not going to totally remove all the funding from the city. We're just going to divert some. This is annoying, right? Okay. This is out of Washington. President Trump is ordering the federal government to begin the process of defunding New York City and 3 other cities, where officials have allowed lawless protests and cut police. Lawless protests, that's called a riot. In fact, a lawless argument could be a murder. In fact, actually, a lot of different lawless legal behavior. That's going to become a meme, right? The peaceful protests are riots, right? A lawless voting is just a coup, right? And this says the lawless protests and the cut police budgets in the city amid rising violent crime, the Post can now exclusively reveal. Trump on Wednesday, today, signed a 5-page memo ordering all federal agencies to send reports to the White House Office of Management and Budget that detail funds that can be redirected. So they're basically calling all colors saying, excuse me, what money are we giving to these cities? Because we're going to redirect them. Again, not totally defunding the city. No one has to say, oh, the city's going to be broke and everyone's going to die. All of our welfare, all of our sweet welfare money, all of our single mom dollars, all of our 5 kids from 4 dads money. Well, the people that are in the system, that are married to the system, that are in and out of the system, literally, whether it's the prison system or the welfare system or the state dependency system, those people are going to get a rude awakening because the government's not going to be funding them anymore. Not that we're defunding the people, we're just redirecting the dollars that would otherwise be going towards things like this. It says in New York, Washington, D.C., Seattle, and Portland are the 4 initial targets that Trump has made his law and order centerpiece of his re-election campaign over months of unrest, violence, following the May overdose in police custody of George Floyd. That's how I'm reading that. The New York Post needs to make a fucking retraction. You don't write the killing of George Floyd in police custody as of today, September 2nd, 2020. You report honestly that George Floyd OD'd on fentanyl, 11 nanograms in his blood. He OD'd. George Floyd OD'd on fentanyl in police custody. My administration, this is a quote, my administration will not allow federal tax dollars to fund cities that allow themselves to deteriorate into lawless zones, unquote. Trump said in a memo, which twice mentions New York Mayor Bill de Blasio by name. Now, his name's not really Bill de Blasio. It's like William Communist Son or something like that. It's like Will, I'm going to South America guy. And I don't recall exactly what it is, but I'll figure that out. This says federal agencies, I'm skipping part here, to ensure, quote, ensure that the federal funds are neither unduly wasted nor spent in a manner that directly violates our government's promise to protect life, liberty, and property, i.e., funds that are spent in lieu of police payments It is imperative that the federal government review the use of federal funds by jurisdictions that permit anarchy, violence, and destruction in American cities. So, federal agencies must detail all federal funds provided to Seattle, Portland, New York, and Washington, D.C. Also, within 14 days, Attorney General Bill Barr will develop a list of anarchist jurisdictions that permitted violence and destruction. And he's going to go back and relook at the tapes, so to speak. We're going to go back and review. Where did your mayors and governors allow there to be anarchy? Detroit? Portland for sure, Seattle for sure, Chicago for sure. Where else? Where else can you think of where you've seen some really heinous behavior from the people, the elected officials, the mayors, the governors, etc.? Bill Barr is going to come out in 14 days with a list of those people and places and things. And that noun list is going to hurt. It's going to say, quote, permitted violence and destruction of property to persist and have refused to undertake reasonable measures to restore order. So that second part may limit that list, but you know Ted Wheeler's ass is on it with X'd out eyes. This says, the memo does not require Barr to include the 4 cities, possibly for legal reasons. So he doesn't say, Barr, you will do this. He says he's going to do it. And he will. He will develop a list of anarchy zones, but they won't necessarily include those 4 cities, because otherwise it would look like the Trump is putting the words into the Barr's mouth. So obviously we're not going to have that happen, but this continues. It says the memo instructs others to do more things. The White House Budget Director Russ Vought to issue guidance in 30 days from Wednesday to, quote, to the heads of agencies on restricting eligibility or otherwise disfavoring, to the maximum extent permitted by the law, anarchist jurisdictions in the receipt of federal grants. So, all this is saying, the president, the Trump, is asking, hey, what money, it's about $7 billion to New York City alone, hey, what money can we be giving these cities that we are giving them right now that we could decide not to give them in 30 days? So in 15 days, you come up with a list of those cities. I'm naming these 4 right now, but maybe those aren't those 4. Maybe there are others, maybe more, maybe less. Let's come up with a list, and in 14 days, let's regroup. And in 30 days from now, let's move on, no longer funding those cities. That's what the president has said and done in this memo today. It says New York is named because of the crime waves that have... Look, we know why these cities have been named. We know why Seattle, Portland, Washington, D.C., and New York have all been named. I don't have to look at that list again to know that those are the places named. You've got the Chaz. You've got executions in Portland. Multiple. Not just on the right, but you have people that are being killed everywhere in Portland. And you don't even know who's doing the killing because you have fake bystanders and fake witnesses. Cars waiting around the corner and then pulling up on red lights and running. I mean, there's some weird stuff. If you have not seen the assassination, the coordinated murder that occurred of Jay in Portland, you should see that. And you should watch the video that Tim Pool did on it, where he tells you not to buy into the conspiracies, and then he himself walks you through exactly how it's a conspiracy. Anyways, this memo goes a long way. From the president to say, these are the 4 cities that we are not going to take any more bullshit from. We are not going to take Portland's murdering people in broad nightlife, walking up to them and saying, we got one, pull that thing out. Pop, pop. Here he is, got one, knocked him off. No, because what you're going to have happen is you're going to have a bunch of people who are now wanting to be Kyle Rittenhouse. You have people who aren't worried that they'll be attacked. You have people who are loading their guns, going out and saying, fuck with me, I dare you. And that's what you're going to get, not just in Kenosha and in the Midwest, because we ain't fucking with you in the Midwest. But you're going to get that in California. You're going to get that attitude in New York. When these people see these polls, notice, alert, hey, stealing that one. Hello, I'd like to order a poll. No? I can't get one? You can't find a poll. For the last 2 weeks, no new polling. Why? Why no new polling? Is it because the left is afraid that if you see the updated current poll standings, you're going to see that Donald Trump will landslide in November? Not just like a little Reagan landslide, but like a new historic, what we call a landslide. Before it was like a shifting of a little bit of a little road act. No, this will be a new earthquake giganta landslide. I mean, it's going to be something epic, biblical. You're going to have the entire country vote for Donald Trump because of this. Because of this. And you don't have new polling because they're afraid. The DNC happened. Well, we shit the bed on that one. Then the RNC happened. And it's almost like we shit in their bed for them again. And so now you have the left has double shit bed. They have to sleep in it because they made it. And then we've got everyone in the world that wants to be on our team. And the news and the media and the polls cannot tell you that honestly. So even though now they're reporting that Trump may have a few points on Biden here and there, and there's some key areas where Trump's actually in the lead, they're not going to show you national aggregate polling right now. They couldn't and they won't. And they're still fighting it. It's the second. It's been a week. Ask yourself why that is as you look at why these 4 cities are no longer going to get funding anymore. We just barely scratched into this article, by the way. This goes into each city. But check this out of the New York Post. Like this video. Comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm piped up about this, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone, post it on a Pottery Barn website comment section, post this in your Amazon reviews for what you recently purchased, and please do everything else that you can do to keep America afloat.